All right, we got in under the wire. We are live. It's Friday afternoon. We're on time. I'm here. George is here. You might not be able to see him. George, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
George is here. We're all here.
We're
Welcome.
all here.
We're all here. The equities trading week, at least here in the U.S., is over. So depending on where you are, it may have been over for a long time for you, but if you're in the U.S., we just finished up, and I think a lot of us are glad that this one's over. There was good things. I'm not quite sure what they were, but there was some not so good things. We're definitely going to go through all that. We're going to go through the Bitcoin action. We're going to see what happened. Talk about where you guys think we're going. I'm going to tell you where I think we're going. Well, George will tell us where he thinks we're going from here. But we definitely had the first. Unfortunately, it was to the downside, but this was some big movement. This is the first real movement we've had in Bitcoin in a few months. So, there was some excitement, but it wasn't what we were looking for, really. However, well, no spoilers. We'll do some polls and we'll talk about it. Let's see what's next. Of course, nobody knows until it gets here. But what I do know is I'm going to ask you guys if you could please smash the like button. It helps the stream out a lot. Does us a big favor. Spreads the stream. We got to spread the stream during these tough times. Let's get people in here. We're going for 100 likes. We're at 18. I'm going to start asking early because we used to get 100 likes, no problem. Now it's a photo finish or we don't make it. So it's free to hit the like button, and it really does help a lot. So I'll ask again later. So thank you very much. And, of course, if you're here and you are not subscribed, consider subscribing to the channel. That, of course, is also free, and it does help the channel out a lot. And you can hit the notification bell, and if you're interested, that way every time we put out a video on Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners, we cover that. That is the vast majority of our content for the time being, and it has been for a while. So I think most of us consider this a Bitcoin miner channel, and as a function of that, obviously, we look at Bitcoin quite a bit. We also have a membership group, so membership has its privileges. If you're not aware, first of all, thank you to all the existing members. I see a lot of them in the chat, so we'll say hello to a bunch of people in a minute. So special thanks to all the existing members. It's only $5 a month. You can become a member by hitting the join button. It's right next to the subscribe button on the YouTube channel. There is a fee for that, but it's only $5 a month, so we try to use the lowest fee humanly possible. And we do provide a bunch of value for that. We do a once-a-week members-only live stream with George and myself participating in that, where we talk about a bunch of stuff that we don't really necessarily talk about. We do a live stream every Friday for everybody, but the YouTube algorithm and YouTube doesn't like certain things and certain topics. So it's a great stream still, but we are a little restricted, so we're a little more open on the Tuesday streams. In addition to that, the members get to pick a video for me to do a deep dive on every week. So each week the members get an additional video that's for members only, and we have a members only Discord where we have a constant conversation, and I think that is one of the great Discords as well. George has what do you think about our group, George? You've had a few things to say over time.
Oh, it's been real interesting, especially when we're going to be going through this hell for the next. What did I call this like a few months ago? I said this would be. I think I had a name.
The summer of hell, according to George.
Yep. The summer of hell for crypto. That's what I called it 3 months ago.
George.
I have not changed. We still have a month to go. I should have made. We should have made like a little summer of hell.
A lot of people in the U.S. went back to school. So for me, when I was a kid, that was the end of summer. So we're not calling it yet.
No, I don't think it's over with. I think it's just getting ready to begin.
More pain to come.
I just think there's a few things that gotta shake out. And once they shake out, then we'll be sitting in a much better position. It just sucks going through it. It sucks when you lose money.
this was a tough week for some people. If you did not see my video yesterday, check it out. And, you know, I labeled it, "Is it time to panic?" And I got all kinds of responses on that. But obviously, well, you know, we'll do a poll talking about that as well, because this was a big move down. We took out some very significant lines of support. We did catch ourselves at a very significant line of support. And for those of you who have been with the channel for a long time, we have very, very clear lines. We have 3 or 4 lines that we have talked about on every single live stream, whether it's public and, you know, in the members only live streams, as lines of support and resistance. And, you know, we lost one of those lines this week. So we had I had 2 lines that were most significant on my chart. We lost one, and we got caught at the other. And I'm zoomed into the 15-minute time frame, so you should see that on your screen if you're watching along as well as listening. I just want to show you. This is how close this stuff gets. And it's not a coincidence, and it's not like this is a line we made up here on the channel. This is a technical line, and, you know, and I'm on the Coinbase chart. I'm on the Bitcoin Coinbase chart. So, you know, every different exchange, the numbers are a little bit different from here to there, but you can see, I mean, that is almost a perfect retest of this line. Now, whether we hold it or not in the long term, we don't know, but we do know in the short term, this line of support, we did catch ourselves at this line of support, right? Because look at, this is a 15-minute candle. I mean, this was just going down in a hurry. And I could even break it down faster than that. This was a flash crash of sorts. It wasn't as big as some previous flash crashes, but in some ways, I'm going to show you, we were actually more oversold than we've been in years and years and years. So that's some of the reasons that I'm going to present an argument where I think next move is up. You know, that's...
Well, it was really healthy that we held that 25.
I mean,
that was amazing.
That was a good sight to see, and you can see, I mean, this was super, super close, but even these 15-minute candles both held, you know, and this one, you know, came within, you know, pennies of touching this line. So I was encouraged by, discouraged overall. Don't get me wrong. It's not like, you know, it's not like that's great news, because let's not overlook the fact that we had a line here at 28,800. I'm going to the 1 day. So we had a line here at 28,800. You can see, I mean, I'm going to draw my messy because I'm awful drawer, but you can see for this whole period of time here, you know, this line, as soon as we went above this 28.8 line, and this is a multiple year line that has switched between support and resistance. So as soon as we went above this, you can see, I'll get rid of my ugly circle. This is several months. This was back on June 20th. So actually that's just short of 2 months ago. We tested it here on July 24th. We candlewicked almost down to the line. These are the daily candles. So we candlewicked below but closed above on August 1st. Again on August 4th. Again on August 7th. We held ever since. And the second we had a daily candle close below this line, boom, it was just boom, straight down. So that's how this works. We lost this line of support, and as soon as we did, you know, we ran to the next line. So fortunately, you know, we caught ourselves here at this line for now. So, right, we can't say definitively, oh, yep, we caught ourselves and we're good to go, and, you know, it's all up from here. I'm not saying that, and I'm, you know, we're going to have to wait and see what happens, but I do think, so the bad news is we lost a very important line of support. The good news is we did catch ourselves, and if you watch my previous videos, and we did have a long talk about this in the Tuesday members-only live stream, and on my video that I put out on whether or not it's time to panic, this was the line that I talked about. And I'm going to show you 2 other lines of support that we also lost that I am surprised. So we've been talking about this line at 28.8, and we all thought there was a pretty good chance, you know, 50-50 type chance that we were going to lose this line of support. But I had two other lines that I'm going to show you. I'll bring them up on here that I was pretty confident we would hold. They did not hold. So this was my line of last resort rate here. So it was my feeling if this line didn't hold, it was look out below, I believe was a tweet that I put out yesterday, if they're still called tweets.
I guess they're called X's.
It's the I don't know what's the proper
terminology. Yeah, no longer tweets. I don't know what it is. It's my X's and O's. My X's.
It's a very confusing thing that he's done to us here. I will say this. I never liked the name Twitter. I despise like I put a tweet out. It's like that just doesn't sound like something. No, sorry. Doesn't sound like something a grown man would do.
No.
I'm just saying. So but
I will tell you one
statistics, 99, somewhere between 99 and 100% of the people watching are men. Let me know if you are
99 to 100.
Those are our statistics, so let me know if you're not. We all are welcome, and I love...
You should do a little test and go press 1 if you're a man and 2 if you're a female.
Yeah, but we won't know if anybody pressed 1 or 2. Oh, in the chat?
Duh!
like,
you type it. Yes. You're so funny.
I'm like, we're not on a phone here. I don't know how this stuff works. I have not read any of the chat, so I got it in a weird spot because I broke my little special screen that I had for chat, but I can see it. And actually, as I'm just saying that, FV702 just did a super chat. Thank you very much, FV702. Much appreciated. So I'm going to read what FV702 has to say. Investors sold 489 million in Bitcoin futures over a 24-hour period. The largest single-day liquidation since June of 2022. So, and that, I'm going to show you, thank you for bringing that date up, because some of our other numbers go back to that day. That was a significant period of time, according to...
Look at that, Tom. You have a 2 in the audience.
Hey, welcome, welcome. Welcome, Joan. I appreciate it. Tell your friends. I don't know... it's very strange that the demographics on these things, it must be, it's YouTube that decides who to, show this to. So for whatever reason, they're just not showing this to women in general, but obviously all are welcome. We're all investors, so it doesn't make any difference, but it's always nice to know. So welcome, Joan. Thank you very much for being here. Hello, Edmund. Edmund pressed 1. Edmund, we are aware, but thank you for letting us know, and welcome to the stream. We missed you on the Tuesday live stream. I kind of, I think I messed up the settings a little bit there, so I fixed it in the middle, but I don't know if that confused some people or not. So did I finish reading? Okay, so I want to finish FV702. So he's saying, so they sold contracts for futures or actual Bitcoin. So large single. So obviously that's, I mean, I'm guessing, I don't know why that, I'm guessing that's, what this was all about right here, because this was, I'm going to get out of the day. Let me go back to the 15-minute. And I haven't
As you do that, Tom, I want to say something that we talked about this 3 weeks ago, by the way, and this is what was interesting. And there's nothing wrong right now with, first of all, this is not financial advice. Take your own money, play your own games. But we said that this is a good time to start dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin. I don't think that's a bad thing, because once you have it, you own it, and the only time you lose your money is when you sell, and that's the key. Is you gotta like XRP's getting beat up right now. XRP's getting destroyed, and of course it's things are gonna happen. But if you don't sell, you didn't lose any.
That is critical to remember, and it is so hard on weeks like this. So that is a good point, George, because a lot of people, even in your own mind, your self-talk inside your own head, sometimes we go to ourselves, oh man, I lost, $10,000 today, but you didn't lose $10,000 if you didn't sell. Now, if you hold a company where something fundamentally changed, the stock plummeted and it's never coming back, well, then maybe you really did. You just haven't recognized that loss yet. But, in Bitcoin, in cryptocurrency, I know George has a high level of conviction in XRP. He's been on that early. George was buying that in the low 30 cents, maybe lower. So, he's been on that for a long time and taking the roller coaster, but I don't think you've sold a single XRP. All you've done is buy and hold, to my knowledge. So, that's conviction.
All right, well, and everything,
investing.
The other thing, too, is that people don't realize that you got to make sure you and don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't ever take and put all your eggs in one basket, because that's just not a smart thing to do. Unless you have that type of conviction and you want to keep, that's your plan. But for me, I can't do that.
I mean, in general,
my risk is spread out.
Right. Spreading out your risk is a rule of thumb. This is not our financial advice. This is a age-old, tried and true rule of thumb. And for most people, it's how they put their head on their pillow and fall asleep at night. If all your eggs are in one basket, one thing goes wrong that could be totally outside of your control. It could be totally outside of the control of the company you're investing in, or the cryptocurrency in this instance. So that's very sound advice. Don't invest money you can't afford to invest, and, spread your risk.
This is an interesting point. William just said, I'm going to DoorDash tonight to buy more. You know what? People don't understand. To become successful in America, at least in America, I don't know, maybe it's different in other countries, I had to work freaking 70, 80 hours a week to become successful. I didn't do it in a 40-hour work week, let alone a 30-hour work week. And it sucked. It's like moose balls. You know what I mean?
You bring up a very good point, because a lot of people look at, that person has a lot of money or whatever, and they don't know, I mean, George and I used to take the garbage. We used to have, we were on dumpster duty at the Red Lobster for years. So, this is, everybody has their own journey, and we'd all, most of us have to work to get where we're going. And I don't know whose comment you read, George, but that's a great comment. They're going to go do some DoorDash. If you do that, you can think in terms of, whatever your favorite Bitcoin miner is. Oh, that's I'm going to go do DoorDash. That's 20 shares of Bitfarms that I'm going to be able to buy.
Yeah, I know. And that's how you become successful. Here's the other big lie in America, is that you can save yourself into prosperity. No one tells you that. You can save yourself into prosperity. And you have to forego yourself. You can't eat out. You can't, whatever it is, whatever advice you
Instead
have.
of sitting on the couch ordering DoorDash, go out and deliver DoorDash, make a few bucks. And, we're using that as an example because somebody mentioned it. But I want to read Jeff. Jeff did a member comment. Jeff D'Agostino, member for 11 months. So one of our longest members. And Jeff's comment was, 1 more month till 1 year with the membership. Time flies. Time does fly, Jeff. Welcome. I won't say welcome, but thank you for your long-term support. And Jeff has had a lot of good recommendations. Jeff had a streak going of his stocks winning. We do a vote in our members only. People recommend stocks, and then so I don't pick the stocks. George doesn't pick the stocks that we do a deep dive on each week. The members do, and we vote. So they make recommendation. A bunch of Jeffs came through. It's been a while, but you did have a nice long streak. And Jeff has had the 2022, in my opinion, the call of the year, which was the supermarkets. So I know that he, in a year that was very difficult everywhere, and I was, all year long I was saying there's no place to hide, but, the truth is Jeff was right. There was one place to hide, which was the supermarkets. Those were going up, and they had a great year. So that's some of the stuff we learned. Everybody doesn't know every sector of the market, so it's great to get a group like this together where different people have different expertises aren't even the right word, but different passions and different levels of knowledge in different industries and sectors. So, you know, that all gets brought to the table.
You guys are talking about Sebastian real quick, and we'll never pick on anybody that's smaller than us, by the way, but just be careful on looking at some of his information. Tom and I, we really went into a few things, and that's all I'm going to say about that. I'm just saying be careful on what you look at. I'm not going to say anything negative.
That's always fair. Be careful.
Yeah.
Double check
Yeah,
before
double check.
you spend your own money.
Right, yeah.
Do your own due diligence, which
yeah,
I'm sure
and
Sebastian
you know what?
harps on.
Bring
as
that
well
somebody.
As us.
Yeah, somebody bring that up on the stream on Tuesday, please. If you guys bring it up, I'll tell you what we were talking about, so we don't, because it's just not bad. It's bad theater to talk about an open format like this.
Yes.
Yes, but Tom, you think this dump could be over with, and everybody thinks, oh yeah, poll time, Tom.
Poll
time.
Let's get a poll going right now. All right, welcome to Talking Investing. I'm gonna keep this at 2 options so we don't get nuts here. This is gonna be yes, no, and then we'll dig a little deeper. So the poll is: did Bitcoin just bottom? Yes, that was the low. That's it. 25. That was our line of support. Or no, we're going lower.
I'm just gonna say something that's really interesting, and this was a statement that was made on what is that? CNBC. The
CNBC,
financial channel.
Yep, that's the
they said this comment, and I don't think it was anybody that's the main staff, but they said this: gold will never go below $2,000 an ounce again.
Yes.
So put that in your little as you vote.
That's true. We've had several calls. It's funny. Every time gold gets over, and it's only happened a few times, but it gets over 2,000 for 10 minutes, and all of a sudden you start getting these calls that's it. It's never going under 2,000 again. That's the low forever from here. So that's a fair point as you vote to bear in mind. I want to talk. Crypto Fever put out a member chat, so I want to mention that. Crypto Fever, member for 4 months. Panic and fear all around us. This is the best time to buy. Correction almost over. Treasury yields will roll over. DXY dump. Risk appetite will be back. So those are all the things that need to happen because the Treasury yields are wacko right now, in my opinion. The DXY looked like it was getting better. For those of you who don't know, and we have people of all different levels on here, and there's an awful lot to know. So the DXY is just the measure of the US dollar versus other currencies. That has been unbelievably strong. It's been at a 20-year high for all year this year, really. It looked like it was backing off, and then all of a sudden it pumped and got strong again. So Crypto Fever saying that's going to end, that's going to dump, and that is one of the most important things. If the DXY does dump, then that's a direct correlation to a pump for Bitcoin. So it is one of the things that I look closely at, and only time will tell. But all right, so Crypto Fever sounds bullish. This is a super close. If you have not voted, please vote because we got a really 51 to 49. Crazy. We got an unbelievably tight vote going on right now. If you have not smashed the like button, it would be much appreciated if you would be so kind as to smash the like button. Of course, it is free. In addition to that, if you are not a subscriber, we would ask you to consider subscribing if you enjoy the channel's content, or just, whether you just watch our live stream on Fridays, or, if you watch, we do videos all week long. We focus on Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners. And we're glad to talk about other stuff. Most of our deep dives in the membership actually are not on Bitcoin and Bitcoin miners, but we still obviously are heavily focused on that. So subscribe to the channel if you haven't. It helps us out a lot. We're really working on subscribers. Somebody pointed out the other day in a comment, and first of all, I want to thank everybody. There have been a few haters, and I don't ever respond to any of the haters, but you know, a lot of you guys jump in, and it never gets ugly, but a lot of you guys answer with some facts, you know, in the comments section on the, you know, some of the videos that I make. When people say this or that, you know, you try to give them a little factual history of things I've said in previous videos and that kind of stuff. So thanks to all the members and subscribers who, you know, respond to that. And obviously, please, there's no reason, whatever anybody says in the comments section, there's no reason to get nasty or any of those kind of things. It's just a waste of everybody's time. And honestly, it's what those people are probably looking for, so don't reward them.
But they could just be normal people. Well, not normal people, but people trying to FUD people out too.
Yeah, that's true too. There's always FUD. So let me just say this before I forget it, and then I'm going to zoom out. I wanted to zoom in. So we were on the 15-minute time frame just to show how fast this dumped the other day. This is now Bitcoin on the 5-minute time frame. So you're going to see this was one candle. This was one 5-minute candle, and the next two 5-minute candles we actually got all the way back above where we started. So this was a very quick event. And then we settled, as we usually do on these flash crashes, we settle somewhere in the middle, and now you can see it's just been this sideways line. So let's see where we're at. First of all, let me get back to 15 minutes. And then we can see where. All right, welcome to Talking Investing, where we're at right now. So right around just under 26,200. Did somebody leave a comment? What? Omer, all right, member for 7 months. So this is another member chat comment. Tom, I saw your vid this week. I'll start over. Tom, I saw your vid this week that, in your opinion, Iris is the most underrated miner. Aren't you worried that they're no hodl position? Thanks. I will tell you, I know a lot of people. This is a very controversial subject, so maybe this will be our next poll. We did a poll on this hodl versus non-hodl thing 4 months ago, maybe, and I was shocked by the results, so I want to do it again, so I'm not going to spoil it. Maybe we'll do that in 5 or 10 minutes when we wrap this poll up. I am not worried about that. Right now, they are in a high growth phase. It would be nice, you know, if they were able to hodl some of the... I like a strong balance sheet. They've managed to maintain a strong balance sheet. They have a large growth plan, and they have locked down a massive amount of power and infrastructure to continue to grow for years to come. So I like all of that. And then if you look at their market cap, it's tiny. It's at like $250 million right now. And so I want to show you. Let me pull up a chart. This is the month of July. So this is all the Bitcoin miners. This is the top 10 Bitcoin miners from a production standpoint. So there's a lot of different ways to look at this. I'm not saying this, you know, and we look at this 100 different ways on the channel, but this is one way to look at it. Strictly from production, Iris Energy is the 3rd largest producer of Bitcoin right now. They finished in 3rd place in the month of July. They finished in 4th place in the month of June. They're continuing to grow, so I expect them to stay, you know, in the top, certainly top 5, maybe top 3, whatever the case may be. But yet, if I go look at their market cap, here they are way down here. And now, this was last Friday, so I update these every weekend. So this 311 million, if I go look right now, right, this was a brutal week for everybody. This is now $242 million. They're producing over 400 Bitcoin a month. I mean, they're peers that are doing that. Like, so if I go back to that chart and look at the ones that are surrounding them. So who's surrounding them? I forget. CleanSpark's doing a bunch more than that. So we'll go Cypher, almost identical, right, from a mining standpoint. Cypher and Riot. Now, Riot is a little complicated to get paid for a bunch of energy. So let's look at Cypher and Bitfarms. And you're going to see that if we go, Cypher is almost $1 billion market cap. So 935 million. They've pulled back a little, but they're somewhere between triple and quadruple the market cap of Iris Energy. By the way, Cypher doesn't really hodl Bitcoin either. So, and the other one that was in the same neighborhood was Bitfarms, which I also think is one of the most undervalued. That was at 431 last Friday. That's pulled way back. They're hodling some Bitcoin, but they have 500 or 600 Bitcoin, so it's not like they have some massive hodl. So my long answer to that is, I wish all these companies could hodl, but the fact is, there's all these companies need to grow, and the money needs to come from somewhere. So there's really three main sources of money. These companies cannot borrow money. Debt is not possible for them, so I can do a talk at more length about that at a separate time. I don't want to bore everybody, but the reality is debt is not an option for even the strongest of these companies. Debt is not an option for. None of the companies that we just looked at will borrow money in any significant way for the next 2 years. So the only two other ways are through stock dilution or selling your Bitcoin. So, these companies need to grow. These are small cap, high growth companies. So I know a lot of people have a lot of other feelings about this. We'll get to it because I think this is a conversation people care a lot about. So maybe that'll be our next poll.
And this is the type of channel where we get the big CEOs. I think Monday, right?
So, yes, thank you, George, for reminding us. Actually, we got two coming on next week. So we took a little break from talking to CEOs, but all the financial statements have come out. So we have Jason, the CEO of Riot, we're talking to on Monday. So, I don't know. It may take... So when we do these interviews, it'll either come out that day or the next day, depending on, events. But so sometime early next week, you're going to get an interview. So anybody drop in the comments, if you have something specific you're looking to talk to Jason about. Obviously,
I would say if you're something specific, it would have to be a chat, don't you think? Like a super, whatever they're called, a paid-for chat.
That's right. Throw a super chat in if you have a very important question that you're thinking of. And again, try to remember.
Even for $1,
Try to remember.
Who cares?
Right, because there's a lot of comments, and I know I can only read about 3 or 4% of them. So anyway, remember, there's some questions as publicly traded companies they cannot answer. So I can ask them, but, if they're...
Could they answer, what the hell are you doing?
What's the matter with you? What's wrong with you? I can ask them that. Not sure. Right.
I was thinking about as you talked to Rob. The thing I think that I'm most impressed with them is that their operation, is it still basically, are they the lowest cost per coin or no?
They have a very low cost per coin. So there's 3 companies that I think seem to be establishing themselves with a lower cost per coin, and maybe only 2 companies because one of them has crept up a little bit. So, which I'm going to have them on. So the other company that I'm going to have on, well, we'll talk about that in a minute. I don't want to sidetrack your question, but yes, they have a very low cost per coin. And, there's some reasons for that. They have an energy program. They get paid for a lot of energy. They contribute energy back to the grid. They get energy credits for that. So in addition to, a good power purchase agreement, that it helps that their costs get reduced with energy credits on top of that. So, all those things put together lead to a really good cost per coin. So that's one of the positives. They have some things I'm very positive about, but I will tell you, they have a few things. I have some big questions. I'm not going to mention them now. You'll see in the interview, but I have a couple of things that I have very important questions, in my opinion, things that I think they need to elaborate on, and whether they elaborate with me in my interview, I want to at least let them know, like, if you can't give the answer to me right now, they should put out a press release, and because, this is a part, they're publicly traded, so they can't just tell one person one thing and another person another thing, but through a press release, there's some information I think they could provide to their shareholders, and so I'm going to mention some of that in the interview. But again, overall, it's one of my larger positions. I do like the company, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to ask the questions. So, if you guys got some questions, let us know. So the other company we're going to interview next week is, we've had people asking for a long time for this, so we are going to have Paul Prager on as well from TeraWulf. So he's the CEO of TeraWulf, and he will be on later in the week. So next week we have two. We're lining a bunch of other interviews up, but those are the two that are next week. So please do us a big, big favor. And, we try to keep those interviews under 30 minutes, and, you can watch them. One of the things, you can watch some of these things, at 1.5 speed. I know people's time is precious, but if you can watch the interviews from, when we get a CEO on, it's important those videos do well. It helps us get more interviews and continue. Darren. So, okay, timeout, absolute timeout. Darren with a $50 super chat. Thank you very much, Darren. That's might be a 2023 record. It's been a long time. So, and Darren has a question that he would like to ask.
That is a very good question.
Along with that. And this is going to be a question for Jason. So thank you, Darren. Riot, is there a lost revenue insurance claim on Building G? So, yeah, what is going on with Building G? This is a considerable amount of...
Tom, do me a favor, and I'm sorry, this is business stuff now, but let's talk about that, because as a public adjuster, if he has a BOP policy, and I'm sorry guys, this is technical stuff, but we got to make money to pay for. We got to make money to pay for the channel. But this is an area of expertise that I could handle for them. No problem.
George is a public adjuster.
So usually you get a loss of use insurance policy called a BOP. Did I lose you?
Nope, a BOP.
Okay,
I just didn't want to have to say BOP, but
BOP, and it stands for a business owner's policy, and you get what's called loss of use if you prove it, and that would be real easy to prove if you know what you're doing. That would probably be like a lot of hours of work, but it's probably literally millions of dollars. Sorry.
No, that's a good point, because that's been out of commission for a significant period of time. And if there's insurance in place and there's money that they could get for that. So it's a double question for me. Number one, that's a good point, Darren, that I had not even thought about at all. And George, you may have because of your background and expertise, but a lost revenue insurance claim, can they make up for some of this lost revenue? That's number one. And number two, when's this thing coming back online?
Yeah. Really? I mean, how long does it take? But, I mean, you know what? There's another example, though. It doesn't matter how well you can forecast. I mean, I'm not talking about weather. I'm talking about financial forecast. That was never in the cards for this to happen. That scenario was never planned for. Guaranteed. Don't you think so, Tom?
Absolutely. I mean, these are the things you can't plan for. There's events that are totally outside of your... All you can do is deal with the stuff in your control. There's stuff outside of your control. So the fact that it was damaged in the first place was outside of their control. Right now, I can tell you, the other thing that George and I both have a bunch of experience in is construction. And, they may be just running into a scenario where it is so hard to get anything built, or, they may have some infrastructure that they need to get fixed. And, it could just be the simple fact that it's hard to get anything done right now. So, that's a piece of the puzzle. I don't know what else is going on with them. This is definitely taken longer to fix than it did to build in the first place by far. So, also, once again, I do want to take a special moment out. Darren, who is a member, thank you very much. That's a very generous super chat. So it is much appreciated. Thanks for supporting the channel. All your support, much appreciated. And Edmund is pointing out the last Bitcoin will be mined in the year 2140, not the year 2040. So that's right. So, and it, quickly it gets to the point where a block is going to be tiny, less than 1 Bitcoin, and then significantly less than 1 Bitcoin by the time it's over. But we do have another 100 years of mining this stuff, even though we're 90+% of the way through mining the Bitcoin. From a number of Bitcoin standpoint, we've only just begun. This is a 100+ year project, so we're at the beginning of it. Thank you, everybody, for smashing the like button. Anybody who hasn't, if you could please smash the like button. We're at 84, so we're doing great. It is much appreciated, especially on a tough week. I want to thank everybody for showing up today. After, this was probably not everybody's favorite week. But I will tell you, for those of you, and I'll talk about what I dollar cost averaged into. I bought a bunch of stuff this week, and I bought a bunch of stuff yesterday. I even bought I can count on one hand the number of times I've bought stock in after hours, and I did so yesterday. So that's how much of an opportunity I thought there was when I saw this 25,000 hold. Now, it may not hold, and if so, then, there may be another buying opportunity. But I did buy a bunch of stuff, so we'll talk more about that. But my point was, thanks, everybody, for joining in and tuning in on a week that was tough. But in these tough weeks are where we make our money. To George's point, nobody, unless you sold, you didn't lose any money this week. If you like the stocks you're in, you like the cryptocurrencies you're in, and you hold them until, they get back all these losses, which, if you're bullish, you believe that that's what's coming, whether it's next or not, that's what's coming at some point. And one of the most common themes I'm getting from comments is, because we talk a lot about, I did a "Is it time to panic" video, and a lot of people were like, don't worry about the day or the week or even the month. This is a long-term deal. So when the opportunity comes, buy some more, sit back, relax, and, we're all going to be very happy we did so, whether it's 2 years from now or 5 years from now. So, those, I get a lot of those comments.
10 years from now.
Or 10, or I don't, by 10 years from now, I will admit my conviction does not last 10 years. If this thing hasn't made its move prior to that, I will likely move on to something else. But I have a very high level of conviction that, sometime over the next 2 to 4 years, we're going to see significant movements.
I have another question, Tom. Could another Bitcoin miner pop its head out and become a super stud? Because have you heard what's happening in Russia? In mining, I don't know if you pay attention to where the coins are mined or anything like that.
I know that there's, I don't know how a publicly traded company is going to come through from Russia, and this is one of the things. Like, there's been a lot of shifts. Remember, when just a couple of years back, the majority of mining was in China, and then China turned the valve off. And then, there is still mining there, whether they like it or not. But policy became, no mining allowed. So all of a sudden, North America, became by far the place where most of the mining was happening. So now, I know Russia has, and if George, if you've got some more details on that, I know there's a lot more mining going on in Russia, but I don't think that another publicly traded company is going to pop out of the woodwork. That would be my opinion. So, the publicly traded companies in North America do not make up the majority of the Bitcoin mine. So obviously there's a lot of other Bitcoin miners out there. But I don't think it would upset the apple cart because it wouldn't be somebody new to mining altogether. It's just they would be new, if they went public. So to me, the quote unquote danger would be, does a monster come in and say, you know what, I'm going to allocate, even if it's $5 billion, because there's dozens of companies where, as crazy as it sounds, that's pocket change. I want to move into Bitcoin mining. I'm going to drop $5 billion and, I'm going to become, twice the size of the largest Bitcoin miner. But I don't even know that would hurt the existing Bitcoin miners. Because
I know that oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was going to talk about the halving coming up. We're hoping probably in April or May of next year, which now is less than a year away.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
What will that do to the price of Bitcoin? I mean, is there going to be is it going to be harder to mine? Is it going to be easier to mine? What happens?
So the difficulty level, I'm going to take a look at the difficulty level because there's several different things that go on at the same time that affect this. Do you want to do that first, or do you want to set up a new poll?
Let's do a new poll.
Because we got 105 votes.
Who do you? I don't know if it's what's the outcome?
The outcome is so the question was, did Bitcoin just bottom? So,
wow,
42% said yes, 58% said no. We are going lower. So, I will tell you, we do these polls once a week publicly and then another time privately. 99% of the time we've done this poll. Some of them have been very close, but they're almost always optimistic. So
right,
this one's pretty decisive, and it's flipping. It's getting 58, 59% think we're going to go lower. So, I mean, that's not unreasonable. It's been this was a very rough week. So, everybody's mindset is probably, rightfully so, worried that, there's more pain to come. What reason do we have to believe that was the end? So only time will tell. But I think 108 votes now, that's a fair sampling. So 58% say we're going lower. So, we'll check in next Friday. For the members, we'll check in on Tuesday and see how things went over the weekend on Monday. For everybody else, we'll check in next Friday and see if this ended up being true. I hope
25.2 is the number. If it can hold the 25.2, that's the key.
That 25.2, right. And, I mean, to me, this was extremely
How far back does that go, Tom? 25. How is that like, is it 8 months, 9 months, 12 months?
It's a significant line. So this was resistance. You can see on August of 2022. So that was a very important, significant date. In August of 2022, Bitcoin had, let me get out of this drawing mode. Bitcoin had what was, a big rally. Now, it was only up to 25,000 because if you remember, we had this gigantic flash crash all the way down to, in June of 2022, we got down to 17.5. I really thought that was the bottom. The FTX situation in November actually pushed us a little bit lower than that for a few months. But from there, we had, so inside of what was still really a vicious bear market / crypto winter, this was a 44% move to the upside. So, these are the same types of things. So what we've been experiencing in this bull run, which we'll look at, is 20 to 25% pullbacks as the bull run continues. So this is typical. So this is the reverse. We were in the middle of a vicious bear market crypto winter, and we had a big run up. That run up was to this line. So this line held, this was the highest. You got to go all the way back to December of 2020 here. This is a void. So we peaked there, and we didn't even get back and retest this. From August of 2022, this line was tested. It was and failed in February of 2023. So you can see this was clear resistance. And then, you know, a couple of months later, actually just a month later, in March, we finally did push through this. And as soon as we pushed through this line at 25, you'll see on the daily candle, we have not closed below it. So when you see resistance like this, resistance once, resistance twice, and then the next time we got there, support, and now we got there again and it just turned into support. This is well over a year old, a very, very strong support slash resistance. So that's why being above or below this is crucial. If we were to go below this and start bumping into this and not being able to get through it, all of a sudden it would turn back into resistance. And that, to me, would signal the end of this bull market that we're in. I don't think that's going to happen. That's not to say we couldn't candle wick below this or even have a daily candle close below this, but I don't think we're going to turn this back into resistance. I remain, you know, bullish on this, even if there's more pain to come, which there could very well be. I think it's, you know, days. Now, could we go sideways? We've experienced a lot of sideways activity, so it's entirely possible we have another stretch here, you know, in the $25,000 area where we're sideways before we get, you know, back on track. I think that's more likely than going to lower spots here, but I certainly would not rule it out. And I did say in my last video, clearly, definitely, if we start closing daily candles below this, that's going to change my opinion on where we're at for the next few months. So, you know, nothing is going to, I won't say nothing, but this wouldn't be an event that changed my long-term outlook on Bitcoin. But, you know, you got to see what you think over the next few weeks, the next few months, the next 6 months. And that would be a significant event if we lose this line right here. So the answer to your question, George, is, in my opinion, this is an extremely significant line. These two lines, you'll see, these are my two big lines. You know, and they're not my lines. They're plus or minus. Most people have a line somewhere in the neighborhood of both of these spots. So we lost one, we held the other, and we'll see what comes next.
Do you think any of the geopolitical stuff that's on the world right now, and I'll just leave it as a very broad statement, is affecting anything to do with Bitcoin or the stock market or oil?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, you know, everybody had 100 theories on why this happened yesterday. Your favorite company, whose name we both always get wrong, the Chinese real estate company, filed
Evergrande.
They filed for Chapter 11 yesterday. So, you know, that's China's largest real estate company by far. So that was a significant event. There was, I'm going to go to an article if I can find where I put it. Okay, so another thing that may have happened yesterday, Elon Musk's SpaceX news sends Bitcoin tumbling. So this is what the initial knee-jerk reaction was. Everybody thought this is what's going on. I'm not sure that this happened. Nobody really knows. So SpaceX is not a publicly traded company. Apparently, there was a source inside of SpaceX that indicated, you know, that they got rid of all their Bitcoin. And the wording was even kind of squirrely. So I saw somebody do a video on this last night where, you know, they read somebody, Bloomberg or Wall Street Journal, somebody picked this up and kind of put it inside of a larger article that wasn't even really about this. But this was one of the theories is, oh, they dumped a lot and that was the reason for this. I don't know that it was the reason for this, but, you know, between the evergreen situation, between the bond yields being in a weird spot, between the dollar pumping, yes, I think all of those things. The other thing that happens from time to time is sometimes people just get caught. If there were a lot of people, and clearly there were because a lot of people got liquidated, sometimes people get greedy and we have an imbalance in the leveraged plays to the long side versus the leverage plays to the short side, and or vice versa. And whenever that happens, you'll see a liquidation event. So if it's the longs that have gotten greedy, you know, you're going to see a candle like this happen. This was all, once this starts, what happens is people who are leveraged, they get liquidated because they don't have the money to cover. So this happens in real time instantly. So all of a sudden, boom, you get this giant candle. And then at some point, there's a buying wall out there. So it runs into that where there's a massive amount of buy orders. And even though people continue to get liquidated, there's a market that exists to buy back in at that point. So clearly that was at this line, which was an obvious line. Now, if there was enough liquidations, it could have exhausted all of these buying orders and kept going even lower. That would have been a disaster in my, you know, a short-term disaster. I hate to use the term disaster, but that would have been a much worse situation. So I think I closed that so we can do the next chat or the next
I think you got to do the normal poll.
Well, we just saw everybody is bearish and they think we're going down.
Well, you know what's funny? The next poll could be different.
What's the next poll?
25-2, 27-2, 30,000. Remember? You'll be in shock if it's different.
Oh, you want to do that and see if we get a different result. All right, we'll make this a quick poll, and then I got another one in mind.
A rapid fire poll. And just so you know, my internet's going in and out right now. So the waves are really bad on the boat right now.
Is that true, or is that just something you're saying?
Okay, I'm back again. Sorry, the waves. They keep hitting the bow and it pushes it all around. It's a rough life.
It's, you know, tough problems.
19.8, please, please, please. 15K incoming. Wow, there's people that are on my side with this thing. By the way, even if it does get to 15, I don't think it's going to stay there, or if it even gets to 19. I think it's going to do exactly what it did today, and you're going to see a bounce at the bottom, and then it's going to take right back up. So have those buy orders ready. Oh, and Jeff, hit me on Discord. You guys, I think my
Sorry, I'm being
my Discord name is Kudab, C-O-M, so Kudab and then C-O-M with no dot. There's no dot. You know, I thought about this in India. I don't know if there's any people from India on, and I'm gonna get in trouble for this. But if you're in the lower color, if you're in the lower color dot, why wouldn't you just change your color?
I am not familiar with the system, so
I'm not either.
Absolutely no response to that.
No, but I'm not trying to be rude. We were talking about that today.
First of all, it sounds like what my knee-jerk reaction to that is, A, I don't even know if that's how it works, and B, it sounds like a dishonorable thing to do.
Oh, that's okay. I didn't think of the dishonored.
I mean, to me, that sounds like cheating, is what you're describing.
Well, but if you're at the bottom class, what does it matter?
Well, you're still cheating's cheating.
You're going to jail?
No, it's
your
not.
dot's the wrong color.
Oh, all right. Wait a second. We got to take a moment. Thank you very much, everybody. We just reached 100 likes. Very much appreciated. So we can keep going. Maybe we can set an all-time like record. We've never.
Oh, you didn't hit my 25. You're killing me.
What?
Nothing. I'm just gonna mess with everybody and go 31. Sorry. Keep going.
We're going. We hit 100 likes. We're going for an all-time record. Let's see if we can get 150 likes. We've never gotten 150 likes. That would be an all-time record. So, but
yes, the caste system. That's what I'm talking about, Steven.
In the meantime, thank you everybody for getting us to 100 likes. Much
I'm not.
appreciated.
I'm not from India, and I don't know really too many people from India. But I never thought about that, and I had that question posed to me today. It's like, can you imagine if you're at the bottom cast when they're like, why wouldn't you just change your color? Because supposedly it's really bad for some color of dots. I don't know which one it is.
I think, here's what I think. I think you should research this so that you have enough information to bring us a viable question.
You're funny.
What? That's a fair statement.
I don't know if I can talk to you because my dot color might be different.
You're unbelievable.
What?
Jeff is
Sorry.
putting a bunch of George heads right now. Oh, wait a second. Wait a second. It's time. I haven't pulled this out in ages. The George icon. Let me know what the delay is. Are you guys seeing the George icon?
I haven't seen it yet. Oh, there it is. Yeah,
This
you
is
haven't.
a George moment. We've had a few sightings lately, and then we'll switch to our other. Boom. George.
Just so everybody knows, I'm joking about the boat. I don't have a boat over 50 feet.
You're not on a boat.
Did you hear me? I don't have a boat over 50 feet. So anyways, Tom, are you going to do this weekend? Are you going to go through the miners again to figure out which is probably the best value, or no?
I'm going to do my entire weekend. Yep, I start this. That's how exciting my life is. I start this Friday night doing my stats, and I will put out, by the end of the weekend, I'll put out all my charts again. I put my charts out every single week. I update all the Bitcoin miner charts for the weekly activity. Then, when we get our monthly updates, that's a separate set of charts that I put out. And then when we get our quarterly updates, I have some other reports that I put out, some of which I haven't done yet. I am waiting for Iris Energy, and somebody pointed out to me that June 30th is their year end, so technically their report is not due yet, but it should come out shortly. When that comes out, I want to compare everybody's cost per coin. There's 3 or 4 different things that really you can only get out of the monthly financial statements. I talk about those. I do deep dives for several of the larger Bitcoin miners every single month and every single quarter. But I want to do those comparisons. Cost per coin's a big one. There's several other that have been requested, so I'm going to be doing all of those. I got a lot of videos ahead that we can do. But yes, my weekend videos I will do this weekend. And if I change, so I did a video last week. I think that Iris Energy was the most undervalued Bitcoin miner, in my opinion, at that time. And you're right, George. That could change, from week to week. It has changed over time because the Bitcoin miners have different, activity. So if there's a gigantic run up in Iris Energy, let's say Iris Energy runs up 50%, then I'm sure, somebody else is going to be the most undervalued.
Wait till you see the poll.
It is as you suspected.
I think once you put the numbers to it, people get, they change their minds.
I never would have guessed that but you nailed it. You called this before it started. Maybe people are messing with me.
I think we are, Tom. No, I think, but it's a really good, valuable point. No one really knows which way Bitcoin's going, whether it's going up or down. But all I know is if you keep your keys and you have your wallet, you own your coins. Remember, keep your coins off of the exchanges, because what people don't realize is they take and they sell the same Bitcoin. It's like gold. They sell it to 10 different people. So if you want your Bitcoin, you got to get it off of the exchanges. You have to get it off of the exchanges.
Keep your own Bitcoin.
Yes.
This is the only comment I'm going to make regarding this, because I see the comments section has been taken over, I think, by Jets fans. Darren has said, you heard it here first. Buffalo will miss the playoffs. No O-line, weak D-backs, and no running back.
You know what?
I wish I could argue with you, Darren, as a lifelong Buffalo fan, but I am very worried going into this season. That's all I'm going to say about it.
I'm going to get in trouble for even suggesting this, but luckily my wife can't hear it. We should do a sports channel Sunday mornings at like early or something like that. Because I'll tell you what, we would probably get a bigger following there doing NFL stuff. Because we know all the players.
We
know all the
football
stats.
Fans.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, that's like the one sport that I got sucked into early on in life. I almost did that with the Georgia Bulldogs, by the way. Sorry.
Yeah. First of all, you started with the right thing. You're going to get the ultimate veto on that one. You already spend a significant amount of time doing
No.
this,
But Sunday mornings I know they're crucial to you too, but that's church day.
Yes. I'm not sure that's one your wife is going to love.
So now let's talk about Altseason.
All right. So
do you think it's begun?
Is that a question or a statement?
Yeah, that's a question, a statement. So do you think that these people are starting to rotate out of Bitcoin into other altcoins?
So let me show you something, and then I'll give you my answer to that.
Because this is what people don't realize. I see the money leaving out of crypto. I don't see it switching from altcoins to Bitcoin, and that's what it shows.
So let me show you two things that I think help to answer that question. Number one, we got to remember, Bitcoin just had a big pullback. So one of the things that happened, I'm going to go to the Bitcoin dominance. So the Bitcoin dominance, you're going to see, you know what? I'm going to do one of their arrows because we've all seen that I cannot draw. So you're going to see there's a little bit of a downward trend lately, but this line is a significant line. So this line was resistance. Bitcoin dominance of 48.93%. That goes all the way back to May of 2021. So you can see we bumped into it. We didn't even get to it here. We bumped into it again here. So this is kind of the over-under for dominance in my opinion. So once Bitcoin gets above that, to me, it's not alt season. Now, Bitcoin dominance has pulled back, and obviously Bitcoin just had a flash crash. But I will show you that most of the other big coins kind of crashed along with it. But we're still at 49.29. We are still above this green line, which is a very strong line in my opinion. So I think it's more likely that we're going to stay above this line, maybe bounce off of this line. I don't think Bitcoin's done with its run. So, if you believe Bitcoin's going to run up to 35,000, it's hard for me to believe that we're going to enter altcoin season. Now, if you believe that Bitcoin is not going to run up to 35,000, that 31 was the high, right? We hit 31,000, then we hit 31,800, and that's been almost 2 months ago now. So, if you believe that was the high, and then maybe, there's an argument to be made that it's altcoin season. But the other thing I was going to show you related to your question, here's the top 10, top 11, if you can see them all. And a few of these are stable coins, so they do not count. But you can see Bitcoin's down 11%, Ethereum's down 9.5%, Binance down 9%, XRP, George, as you well know, that one got hit the hardest, down 19.5%. Another stable coin, Cardano 9.5%, Dogecoin 15.8%, Solana 12%, Tron 5%, that looks like the winner, Polkadot 9%. So everything's down. It's not, I don't think there was a shift here to altcoins. And I'll keep going down the list. Polygon's way down here now. I don't own any Polygon, but I always get, this is on my watch list big time. Down 15%. Sheeb, which I think is a joke, and Dogecoin I also think is a joke, down 16 or 17%. Litecoin down 22%. Litecoin, I feel like they should just close up shop. I don't know what goes on with Litecoin. So to me, all of this says it's not altcoin season. Sorry.
No, yeah, that was my whole point. We had a comment with somebody else. That was my whole point. Is I don't see this as an altcoin season. A dominance would have to go below 50%, and I just don't see it happening right now.
If we cross this line and stay below this line, and that would be with, you know, if you think Bitcoin's peaked and we're going lower, then I guess that would, so that's kind of the same question. Let's check in on our poll. So ironically, although most of the people think we're going lower, when we ask it this way, Bitcoin's next move, in first place, 31,000 is 57%. So an actual majority still think we're going to 31,000. 22,500 came in second place. So that would be a reasonable move to the downside. And I could see bouncing, you know, even if we hit 22.5, we could flash down to that and still hold, I'll say hold 25 in this regard. To me, I have something that I've long believed. If one daily candle closes below an important line of support and the very next daily candle closes back above that line of support, to me, that's a fake out. You know, people say breakout or fake out. To me, that is a fake out. I think you need that second candle to confirm, you know, a direction that you're moving in. So if you're breaking out either way to the upside or the downside, you need that second daily candle, in my opinion, to confirm that. So I could see getting down to 22.5, you know, and within either that same day or the next day getting back above the $25,000 line and making our run from there. So, you know, I don't think that's crazy time. We have 7% of the people that think, you know, that 19.8 line, which goes back to the previous halving, 9% there, and then all the way down to 17,500, we have 10%. So close to 20% of the people think maybe we're going to get beat up pretty good here. To me, under 20,000 or under that's going to be a beatdown if that happens. So that would be one of the reasons that I have tried to. I did say I would mention which things I bought into this week, so it's very similar to previous weeks. I bought more CleanSpark. I bought more Iris Energy. I bought more Bitfarm. This week, so I've been pretty light on buying Bitfarm for quite some time. This week, the thing I bought the most was more Bitfarm. So that's the first time that's been true in months. And I have not sold any in the middle. Now, what I did do is I made some money on some August options. I did hold on to the last bit of those, and they actually expired today, you know, so they are now worth nothing. But, you know, that was a nice little trade. And so I added a bunch of Bitfarms. Those are the three I added the most. I did not. I looked Riot and Marathon in, you know, very close to $11 was very tempting to me. But I'm trying to be ultra patient just in case. You know, if 25,000 doesn't hold, there could be one or two more significant buying opportunities along the way. So trying to do the right thing and, you know, slow and steady. But I did jump. Yesterday, I bought more than usual. When we bounced off at 25, I did kind of double dip yesterday. So as a result, I didn't really buy anything today because yesterday, you know, after hours, I took care of everything I wanted to. Anybody else? What's everybody else buying? Let's end this poll. It looks like people still feel good about getting back to 31,000, although 20% of the people think there's some pretty serious pain ahead.
I think time will tell.
That's it. I mean, that's all. That's the only thing that's going to give us the real answer to any of these questions. Jeff is saying the below 20,000 crowd just wants to buy more. So, hey, you know what? I mean, but that's always, you guys know, and this is certainly not, I certainly didn't make this up, but I try to live by be careful what you wish for, because, you know, you want it to go below 20,000, watch out. FE702 said Marathon and CleanSpark. Yeah, I mean, CleanSpark presented a huge buying opportunity. I think it was yesterday. Let's pull up that chart.
It's about the same right now.
Yeah, look at yesterday. CleanSpark, and then after hours, it got even better than this. CleanSpark had a... And if you look... So... Wait for it. If you look, you know, this line right here, I've got a line at... And this goes back to September of 2022, so just under 1 year ago. This $5 is a pretty significant line. You can see it got to $5, got rejected again. Once it crossed $5, it has been support ever since. So we're bouncing off of $5. So this really was a great opportunity, in my opinion, to buy CleanSpark. Not financial advice, but, you know, if you're looking from a technical standpoint, I thought, you know, this setup is phenomenal. I actually got some. I did buy one lot at like, I didn't, you know, it got down to $4.91. I think I got it at like $4.98. I just wanted to be able to say I bought some under $5. So it wasn't a lot, but I did buy a couple of times here. So, and I bought on one little bit yesterday, so I didn't buy any today because yesterday after hours it kind of got down to all these spots as well. But CleanSpark is a great buy. Like, I did think about, you know, Marathon. I don't own any Marathon, and I like this company. I like the direction they've been moving in. So I was tempted to buy that, but I didn't do it. I'm going to wait just in case some of the gloom and doom is correct, just in case George is right and there's another big painful event out there. I've got a few things. So if that happens, I'm going to buy a bunch of Marathon, and probably a few of the small cap. If these get really beat up, some of these down here, you know, I don't like to spend a lot of time talking about them, but I got out of Stronghold at $8.30, and that was less than a week ago, and now it's $5.33. So I talked about that at the time, I think on the public, but certainly in the members only group. I talked about getting out of that trade, and when I went into it, I said it was a swing trade. I rarely do that. Almost all my positions are buy and hold, but to me, it was such a blatant, screaming buy, and it pulled more than a double. I got out at $7.80 and $8.30. Those were my two exit points, and now it's all the way back down to $5.33 just a few days later. So there's other small cap companies like this that I think, you know, if we get another opportunity,
Shoosh.
You know, those quick doubles, it's hard to argue. And I know if Edmund is still out there, he's not happy with what I'm saying, because these are not long-term investment strategies, but you know, swing trading is a legitimate thing. A lot of people, you know, they do a lot of swing trading, and that's a classic swing trade. In fact, that's a quick swing trade. And then, you know, I don't do day trading at all. That's an entirely different process, and it's just not something I get involved in. You know, you can't do everything. So I stay clear of that almost completely.
The dollar is strong again, and no one's talking about it.
Yeah.
The dollar it's fighting its way back. The only thing it's really getting beat up on is the British pound. But it's not too terrible, you know what I mean?
So here I'm going to go to the DXY, and you can see we did get, this is where I think everybody was getting hopeful. You know, we had this period right here where a bunch of days in a row it looked like, hey, maybe we're going to get someplace back to a spot where the dollar's in a reasonable spot. This line right here, this green line, is a 20-year high. So you can see we crossed this originally back in a year ago. So for the last year, you know, we've been plus or minus a 20-year high in the strength of the dollar versus other currencies. And when we're sitting here between 100 and 103, it's just not a good spot. It's a very strong dollar, but, you know, a lot of people get that confused. You know, they think, oh, great, the dollar's strong. Well, there's such a thing as too strong. And, you know, at these points, that's too strong. And it's not good for the stock market. It's certainly not good for Bitcoin and the cryptocurrencies. It's not good for trade. You know, I'm speaking in the U.S. here on our end. It's really not good for the world. There's a healthier spot for this to be, a more natural spot. So if I zoom out, I'm going to go to the 1 week, and you'll see there's a more natural spot for this to be at. I mean, over the years, you know, somewhere between 90 and this 97 range. So anywhere in here, years and years. And then, you know, if you go all the way back to the, you know, 2014, this is almost 10 years ago, we were even a bunch lower than that, near 80. So you can see this is we want to get away from this ultimately. And who was it earlier? Oh, I think I'm going to go back because I believe it was Darren in his super chat.
Oh, and I'll just tell you, it's down to 94 rubles. It got up to $100 again. It was $1, $1 to 100 rubles, Russian rubles. And now they're down to 94 rubles. I knew that was the top, by the way.
Well,
but I couldn't figure out how to buy it.
Like I don't know the answer to
47?
This.
47,
so it's still
50?
double.
Yeah, it's still double.
Let me get out of this chart back over to...
But Monday, no one's even talking about. Monday's a big day.
What's Monday?
This is what is scaring me, or it's either Monday or Tuesday. It's the 21st or the 22nd. BRICS goes officially online. And what I was worried about with crypto moving like this is I can't say exactly what I want to tell you guys, but I just think that when BRICS goes online, Bitcoin could become an issue, could grow, could go up, and it could go down. I don't know which way it's going to go, obviously. But, you know, I think that could definitely present a problem for the stock market also. Don't know. Just saying. Or it could go up.
Well, I feel like whatever they were intending to do with BRICS, there's been a fundamental shift in China.
Yes. Last few weeks.
And I don't want to overstate this, but to some extent, BRICS equals China. Right? They're bigger than all the other players in that put together by a lot.
Yeah, add them all up and they might equal.
And they don't equal.
Yeah.
That's how much bigger they are. So, you know, I think we got to keep our eye on that. And I don't know how that affects, you know, I don't know how that affects the rest of the world. But obviously a big economy struggling, one of the world's large economies struggling, does not feel like it's a good thing for, you know, the world's economy.
But wouldn't you say they're the exact same thing about our economy? Isn't our economy struggling?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know.
I mean, that's my opinion. I think others would argue. One of the feds put out. It's just crazy time. They think that GDP is going to be 6.5% this year in the U.S., which to me, first of all, is absolutely ludicrous and ridiculous. That would be one of the highest GDPs ever. I don't know where these guys get these numbers. The different feds put out some of the strangest numbers. So to me, you always got to have a super healthy skepticism of government issued statistics and numbers and reports. I think we're having very slow growth, if anything. I don't think we're going to have negative GDP. I think we had a couple of quarters of negative GDP. For some reason, we pretended like that, you know, didn't matter and was no longer right. That was the definition of a recession forever. And then all of a sudden, since it happened, now all of a sudden it wasn't a recession. So I think we had a recession. That doesn't mean there isn't more pain ahead. Maybe
So
we
I was gonna say something. Jeff's talking about like India and Africa, and I'm gonna tell you something. I got up this morning at 5 a.m. and I spent 2 hours researching the asset that I think is still the most important asset in the world, which is oil. Okay, I went deep to understand oil. And if people think Africa is going to be a superpower, you're crazy. There's no way. And it isn't because they couldn't be, it's because of the infighting that they have inside their countries. So that's number one. The problem is when you have people that have money, they don't like other people to get that money. That is the problem. And so you cannot spread the risk. That's why America is still the most amazing country in the world, is because the middle class is what's made America great. And you know, if
having
that
said
changes,
that, the middle class is
it's
suffering
getting destroyed right now.
in the U.S. Let us know, how things are going. Eric, I don't know if you're speaking. Eric said the Netherlands are now in a recession, so I don't know if Eric, if you're in the Netherlands, let us know, and if that you're there and you're experiencing that. So, I mean, it's tough. It's tough, yeah. And wherever you are, let us know and let us know how the economy's going there. We got to live in reality. It's tough. It's tough all over. These are not great times financially speaking, right?
And I think that's one of the reasons why you saw the pump of Bitcoin back in 2020, like you did 2021, is because of all the free money, excess money that the retail people had. And I think it was artificially inflated personally.
Well, they here in the United States, they were printing money. They were passing out money every way they could figure out. We were 20 years into Fed policy of quantitative easing, so they've been printing money forever, and they took it to new heights. So, yes, and, then all of a sudden they turned the valve off and stopped printing money. They were, quote, unquote, stop printing money. But they did start raising rates significantly. And, all those things equaled crypto winter. In addition to the fact that, a lot of people would argue, listen, that was, just from a cycle standpoint, that it was time for a crypto winter. But I thought we were going to have a crypto bear market. I did not think we were going to have a crypto winter. In other words, a 70 or 80% move to the downside for Bitcoin. But I think because of the fact that, the Fed's policy changed, that is the first time in the history since Bitcoin has existed that we've had a change in Fed policy. So in my mind, don't underestimate the fact that this crypto winter had more to do with the Fed than really anything else, and even more than, this cycle that really we're only 3 cycles into this. So, trying to extrapolate, trend data and data points into larger, assumptions. We're early on this. So I think future cycles are going to look different than this. I'm very bullish, but I do think this is going to turn into a steadier rise over the course of time. And, so I could get fooled again, but I think after the next after the next crypto bull market, I think we'll move into a bear market, but I'm once again gonna, fool me once. I guess maybe they're gonna fool me twice. I don't think we're gonna have another crypto winter. I think we'll have a crypto bear market, which is a 20 or 30 or 35%. And maybe in crypto, because it's more volatile, maybe it's 40. But there's a big difference between 40 and 75 or 80 or 85% extended pullback for a year or a year and a half, right? That's brutal. But we're very far off from that. First, we have to even see if we, if the next cycle starts with, we're supposed to be in 2024, some would say in 2025, moving into, the peak of the cycle, of the Bitcoin crypto cycle.
And as we talk about crypto and Bitcoin, this is the whole reason I'm fascinated with crypto and Bitcoin, is because Crypto Fever is saying, there's 5.5 trillion on the sidelines right now. That I don't think that 5.5 is coming in anytime soon. because of this simple reason is if you look at the regular S&P 500 companies, there are a handful that are doing well. I would say actually a handful and toes. Probably between 20 and 50 companies that are really doing well. But then the rest, it's awful. If you really get into their numbers, it's awful. And that to me is why that money is, and you know, it always comes back to, I think one of the strongest things that we can do for the country is oil. Oil is such a key part of the environment, of the economic change, right? Of how it works, how we use oil, what it's in everything. And
Oil
that
is,
to me is why we can't, you know, we need to have a good policy on drilling. Sorry.
I think one of the most, no, just to add to your point, George, I think one of the most telling comments regarding oil is Elon Musk, who became the richest person in the world on alternative energy, has been adamant that, you know, the most important thing in the world is oil, and this world runs on oil. So while we do want to move away from that over time, this, you know, that's not the flip of a switch. Oil still is what makes the world run. It just, don't like it, it is.
It is, right.
Now, fossil fuels, you know, it's one of many fossil fuels. I think, you know, a lot of the world has done a great job of moving away from coal, which can be a, you know, depending on how you do it, is much, I don't know if dirty is the right word, much higher carbon emissions, as well as a myriad of other emissions. So, you know, but coal is also, you know, coal's not going to disappear overnight either. So fossil fuels are a reality, and, you know, we need to, I think we all want to move in the right direction, but it's just not, you know, it's not going to happen in the snap of a finger. It's just not.
But to get back to your point, crypto fever, I would think that 5.5 trillion would move more back into crypto than it would into the stock market. I would think that there would be more of a pump in the crypto land, you know, to either have, because these cryptos are just destroyed. I mean, I'm in shock. I mean, let's be honest. No one thought Bitcoin would be where it's at today. No one did.
It was certainly not the consensus.
No.
And there was a time where the, you know, expectations were sky high, but I will say now I feel like, and this has to do with momentum, and this is how they get everybody. There's FOMO and fear on opposite sides. So, you know, when Bitcoin was at 65,000, people were frantic to get into it. You know, we got to hurry up or we're going to miss the whole thing. And so those same people, and I'm not excluding myself, right? We're all in some ways, you know, this is how it works. Now all of a sudden Bitcoin at 25,000, we go, wow, you know, I don't know if I want to buy any right now. It could crash. Well, wait a second. You were FOMOing into it at 65, but now you're not sure if you want it at 25. And that's not a criticism. It's just, that's just psychologically the way this works in the market. It's how big money makes their money off of us. So it's our responsibility to try to resist those both moments on either end. The fear and the panic on the low side, we need to resist, and we need to resist the FOMO on the high side. And to George's point, like everybody, when Bitcoin was at 50, 60, pushing 70,000, the consensus was not if, but when is Bitcoin getting to 100, and most people would have bet it was before December 31st, 2021. In, you know, let's say October, November of 2021. That's what the mindset was in large part. Now the mindset right now is, well, Bitcoin's going to be 35,000 at the halving. That seems to be, you know, if you look at the big names and the consensus of, you know, chorus of voices out there, it's, oh, Bitcoin 35,000 at the halving. I think that's very low. I think it's going to be higher than that or much higher than that. That's my opinion. We're going to have to wait and see what happens. But I would be very surprised if Bitcoin's at 30,000 and you can say goodbye. This list of 19 Bitcoin miners that I follow right now is going to be I'm going to have a lot less work to do because a lot of those are going to be long gone if Bitcoin's at 35,000 at the halving. You're going to be looking at companies right now that are $20 million market caps, which is already a nano cap. They're going to be $3 million market caps if they exist at all. So they will.
How
be
long
off
can
the
they
radar.
last like that, Tom? How long can they last?
Most of those smaller companies have very little cash runway. Everybody's in growth mode. So there's some healthy balance sheets out there. But at Bitcoin 35,000 at the halving, I want to show you something else because there's another big piece to this puzzle if I've got it open. The difficulty level. So here's what's already happened. In this crypto winter, effectively, we've already had a halving. So all these companies have had to survive a halving, and I'm going to show you what I mean by that. This is the Bitcoin difficulty level. The difficulty level dictates how much computing power is necessary to solve a block and get a reward. So you're going to see, we don't have to go too far back to get to, here we are in July of 2022. And this was at 27 trillion. So forget the fact that these are gigantic numbers. Well, this got up to 53.9, call it 54. That's a 100% increase in the difficulty level, which means you need twice the computing power to get the same reward. Well, that's the identical math of a halving. So we've already had this reward essentially cut in half or, be twice as difficult. Now we're going to have a halving. So, if the difficulty level stays up here in this 50 trillion range and the actual reward is cut from 6.25 to 3.125, the economics of this is going to dictate that the majority of these companies just, it's just going to make sense for them to immediately turn all of their machines off because based on this, there's really an extra halving that occurred. Now, if we see all of a sudden this 52 drop drastically, right? If everybody turns their machines off and this falls back down to 25 trillion, now you might see some people surviving. But that's the best they're going to do is maybe just continue to survive. And as an investor, I'm not looking for companies that, if all goes well, they're going to survive. That's not really a good investment thesis, right? These are high-risk companies, so there better be a potential high reward. At Bitcoin 35,000, and we're going to have to see because the big, obviously, this is the other gigantic factor. What is the difficulty level going to be at the time of the halving? Because if you do the math on that to get to the real equation of how much how much energy it takes to get a Bitcoin, you've got to factor in both the amount of the reward and the difficulty level. Sorry if that was a little too long. But it's crucial. So anyway, to make a short answer ultra long, at 35,000, I think most of these companies go away.
Oh, wow.
They won't all go away. They'll still be winners. Even in that, what I consider a disaster scenario, there will still be winners. So, that's where you've got to be. If we live in a world like that, that's where people got to get small is what I call it, instead of, even in a diverse portfolio, instead of, having some high risk stuff and being in 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 Bitcoin miners, you pick your top 3. These are the 3 that are best suited to withstand a crypto winter or, a low price of Bitcoin. And those are the ones that have a lot, a very strong balance sheet. So they do have some cash runway to get through. If it takes a year past the halving, they've got the balance sheet to make it there. The companies that have less cost per Bitcoin, obviously that is in their favor if Bitcoin does not do well. So, Cypher has a very low cost per Bitcoin. We're going to look more at Riot, but Riot reports a very low cost per Bitcoin. So, and they have a massive balance sheet. So, to me, a company like Riot isn't going anywhere no matter what happens to Bitcoin. Now, it may not be a good investment, but they're not going anywhere. So those are all gloom and doom scenarios. I don't think that's what's coming. So let's do one more poll.
I'm going to answer this poll and then I'm going to take off.
You got it.
And I agree with you, Darren. At least 25 at the halving, at least 25% of the machines are going to get turned off because of the efficiency.
Right, a lot of machines, regardless of what everything I just said, a lot of these machines, that's a very good point. A lot of these machines are getting turned off. But the counter to that is a lot of new machines are coming online. We already know they're committed to. So we're going to have to see how that balances out.
Kudab Sports coming to you Sunday morning. How much money do you think, how many billions of dollars do you think is spent on the NFL gambling?
Oh, I can't even venture a guess.
It's got to be insane.
Astronomical.
And now it's pretty much legal with like DraftKings and stuff like that.
Yeah, a lot of it's legal. A lot of states, it's legal.
How did you pay for your YouTube channel?
What will Bitcoin be at the next halving, April of 2024? 35K, 45K, 55K, new all-time high, 70K or above. Those are our choices. What do people think? So I went 35K, I went the lowest. So if you think it's going to be even lower than that, then I guess pick 35K.
$100 billion.
100. Oh, that's how much in
how much money do
gambling?
Americans spend on betting on sports? It's $100 million.
100 billion.
100 billion with a B. Wow.
Stephen English is saying Waste Management Channel talking trash.
I love it. I worked for Wayne Huizinga at one point in time in my life. Speaking of trash, he was the trash king, Waste Management.
Yes, as well as... Didn't he own the Dolphins?
Yes, he did.
FV702 saying Bitmain is about to own some Core Scientific.
Everything rallies post-election.
FV702, 150K. Darren, 9K. I don't know what... That can't be the answer to the poll.
Mine was 35K, just so you guys know.
George picked 35K.
I'm out. 6 o'clock. It was great with everybody. Had fun. Hope you guys did too.
George, thanks for spending your Friday evening with us.
Right, I gotta turn this. I gotta turn this boat around and get back to the land. See you guys.
All right. Have a good night.
You too. See you, everyone. Had fun. Hope you did too.
All right. We'll finish up this poll. Let's see where everybody's at. And then let me there was just a couple more things I wanted to go through that we didn't really get a chance to talk about. So let me just show you a few more things real quick. One of the things I wanted to talk about, so let's start out. This is Bitcoin on the 1-day time frame. So, no one thing, right? We caught ourselves at this line here at 25,200-ish. So, that's one indicator that maybe we bottomed out. But obviously there's a million factors. Some of the other easy ones to look at. I want to show you 2 lines of support that we just blew right through that I thought were crucial. So those were not good signs, but then let me show you another one that I think is a very good sign for us. So let me see if I can quickly add. Okay, so here's the 200-day moving average. So you can see yesterday, so we've been above this all year. Right? We moved above the 200-day, this is the 200-day simple moving average. We moved above this in the middle of January of 2023. We've been above it for the entire year since then. We tested it one time and it held and we've been above it. Well, yesterday, and this was one of the lines I thought, we really should find some support right here. Well, those liquidations occurred. It didn't even blink. It went right through that. So, okay, that one, I'm surprised, but that was the lesser of the 2 that I'm looking at. Now I want to look at, this is the 200-week simple moving average. So remember, that's almost 4 years. Until this cycle. So for this period of time, you can see by and large we were under the 200-week moving average. That's never happened before in the history of Bitcoin. The only 2 other times we got near this line, we bounced off of it within a day or a week. So we've never spent time below. And that's why, to me, I talk about why I think this is one of the worst crypto winters we've ever had. We spent from June of 2022, we really didn't get back above this line until March of 2023. So that's the worst run we've ever had. We did get back above this line. We bumped below it for a minute here, and I'm hoping that's what's happening right now. So in June of 2023, we had this local low where we bounced off of this very same line. And in doing so, we did spend some time below this 200-week moving average again. And I'm not going to show you because it would take too long, but really, this really does not happen. I mean, even in, I may be able to go back to, let's see if I can get back to, I mean, look how far back I'm going. We never, sorry, I keep drawing this line. We're above. So what was this? This was March of 2020. So we all remember what happened in March of 2020. So this was truly a black swan event type of a situation. And you'll see if I zoom in, this is on the daily. This was less than a week. So even after that black swan type of event that basically shut the world down, we spent only a few days under this 200-week moving average. So that's how rare this is. So yesterday, this did not hold. So this was one I was really hoping would hold. So we've been talking a long time about, somewhere between 27.2 and 27.5 being maybe a spot that would hold. And really, those were the 200-day and 200-week simple moving average that I was talking about. Neither of those held. So not only did we not hold the 28.8 line, which was a super strong line of support, we didn't hold either of these lines of support. So that's, in my video, Is It Time to Panic? Basically, I said, we've got this line, we've got these 2 lines, and then if this line, this was my last line of hope. If this 25.2 didn't hold, I thought we were headed down, at least in the short term, to I don't know where. So far this did hold, but I wanted to point out, we lost an awful lot of lines of support. Now, on the flip side of that, The exact opposite of that, one of the reasons I think that we have bottomed out, in addition to the fact that we did catch ourselves at this crucial line of support, if we look at the RSI on the 1-day time frame, we got down to where are we at here? Right now, we're at 19.2. So I have a green line at 21. First of all, 30 is considered, anything under 30 is considered oversold. So that's a strong line. In the past, usually if you get around 30, that's usually when you've bottomed out and, you know, you turn around. Well, for Bitcoin, I have a green line here at 21. That goes all the way back to June of 2022. So just so that you guys can see, the last time we were this low on the daily RSI was this massive crash, right? These are a few days. So remember, a few days in June of 2022, Bitcoin absolutely crashed. The bottom fell out. And that was as soon as we lost this, the same line we just lost today. This line at 28,800, when we lost this, this was the lookout below I'm talking about. This was one of the biggest crashes from just, so we'll go from here to here. You know, this is a 45% crash in a week. So that's one of the all-time Bitcoin crashes. And that's the last time we've been this low on the 1-day RSI. So when I say we're oversold, like, that's what we're at, a historic level of, we took out this line. We're now below where we were in this, I'm calling it a crash or a mega crash here. So we're more oversold today than we were at that point. So to me, you know, how low can we go on the 1-day? Yes, we could always go lower. But to me, this is an indication that if we're not, if this isn't the bottom, we are certainly bottoming out, right? We were overbought on June 23rd. So we've taken the full spectrum from overbought at 73. We're now below 20 on the daily RSI, which is a very, very rare event. So to me, that's an indicator. And then I'm going to go to the 4-hour because that one got even worse. So look at what happened here. On the 4-hour RSI, you got to go even years further back before we've been this oversold on the 4-hour RSI. So yesterday to me didn't feel that, I mean, obviously it was a rough day. It's been a rough run. It's been a rough week. Yesterday was a rough day. It was a 5-minute super flash crash, but it did not feel as vicious as some of these other crashes. But when you look at where we are on the RSI, I have a line at 9.5. That, again, goes all the way back to November of 2022. Well, we took that out. We blew that away, right? We got to go, I don't even know. So we got down to, just for perspective, 5.64 on the 4-hour time frame. I mean, I got to keep going. Oh, that's as far back as it'll let me go. I think somewhere, in 2020. So somewhere like 3.5 years ago, this happened one time. So we got oversold on the 4-hour RSI. You know, this was a 3 or 4 year low. So those are some of the reasons that I have some conviction that we're going to hold this line. We just set historic lows on the 1-day RSI and the 4-hour RSI. So, you know, and none of any of this is a guarantee. And then the final piece of the puzzle is you'll see all of these, to me, signal some capitulation. The other thing was, if we look at the fear and greed index, all of a sudden we took a drastic, you know, we went from, I got to refresh this. We went from 50 the day before, 51 the week before, 50 a month ago, 37 yesterday. And we're going to update in 2 hours. So we haven't been down at 37 I'm going to just go down here and look at the last year. So, right, we started to recover in January of 2023. So you can see this was our crypto winter. We started to recover in January 2023. We had, in March of 2023, you'll remember we had that big dip. Since then, the worst day we've had all year was 41. Well, yesterday we got to 37. So you'll see the last time this happened, that was a signal of the bottom, and we jumped right back up. So I think we're going to see something similar this time. You know, there's no telling. Maybe, you know, maybe this is the beginning of you know, some lower lows and a larger trend reversal. But I think everything that I'm looking at put together, to me, still says we're bottoming out, and I still think this does not break. I'm going to go, give me just a minute to get on the, got to get back to the 1 day. So all this period, and we are, don't get me wrong, you know, you could argue we're on the brink here, but, you know, this was a very long bull cycle. So the question is, did this break? Is this broken? I feel like we're going to get back on track. And I just told you, I just gave you my reasons why I think that. So only time will tell. We'll see. Obviously, this weekend, we're going to start to get some, you know, we'll get tonight's daily candle close. We'll get a couple of more over the weekend. So by the time we hit next week, we're going to have a little bit more information. We'll see what happens. Let's close out this poll. What will Bitcoin be at the halving? So 35K. All right. So first place was 45K at 41%. And we were all over the place on this one. And I think that's indicative of the fact that nobody's really sure what the heck is coming next. So 35K, 21%. 45K was the winner, and it's now at 39%. 55K got 13%, but a new all-time high, 26%. So a quarter of the people think we're going to go hit a new all-time high by the halving. I think that's entirely possible. So, you know, I think, you know, I'm leaning towards somewhere closer to this 55K, which that came in last place. But 45K, 55K, new all-time high, none of those things would surprise me. 35K would surprise me. I might even go so far as to say, you know, it's hard to say anything will shock you in the world of cryptocurrency, but I really think that would be really, really surprising to me. I'm not expecting that at all. 45K is enough that the Bitcoin miners can still stay, you know, they're not going to love that, but they can survive it and stay, you know, above water. So that's why I think that's a possibility. 55K to me makes more sense. And I do think there's every chance, you know, we get some of these bigger catalysts. We didn't even talk about a Bitcoin ETF. That to me is one of the all-time biggest catalysts from the beginning of Bitcoin until the end. That's going to be, in my opinion, one of the largest catalysts. So that is still ahead. If that happens between now and the halving, maybe we do get to new all-time highs. So who knows? We were all over the place on this, and I think that's fair because I think that's kind of where everybody's at right now. A lot of confusion. We're in the middle of a pullback. So that's where I'm going to leave it. I'm going to end the poll. I want to thank everybody for spending time after a tough week. Hopefully, you guys enjoy your weekend. Put Bitcoin and investing behind you for the weekend and have a good time. I'm hoping next week's a better week. We just had, and I will, of course, I'm going to update all my weekly charts. So, you know, sometime either Saturday or Sunday, I will put out a video of what, you know, summarizing what happened this week. And maybe by then, you know, by Sunday, we're going to start to know, you know, what's come next here. So you can expect those things. Again, remember, if you can, please watch. I have an interview with Jason, the CEO of Riot, on Monday. So that will either be posted Monday afternoon or Tuesday morning. So if you would do the channel a favor, please watch that. If you have not subscribed, please remember to subscribe to the channel. thank you very much, everybody. Thanks, special thanks to all of the members. Really appreciate all of your support. So thank you very much. Everybody have a great weekend, and we will see you in videos over the weekend. We'll see members on a members-only live stream Tuesday after the market closes, and you can catch my videos next week. Have a fantastic weekend, everybody.